it's a triple play. New episodes, I couldn't wait. Yeah, open your mind at the first gate. Press play, no need to debate. AoA, check me out. Look, plugged in, you can catch the hype. Golden Dawn, how we follow the light. Anime like life, married to it, my wife.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages? Welcome back to the AoA show. I am your host, as always, Ian, along with my boys Isaiah.
Yo.
And Gavin.
What's going on?
And today, we're very excited to talk about some new manga and manhwa that we've read. And you might be wondering, okay, well, where did you hear about these things? Was it from the comments? Was it from this? Was it from that? Actually, it is from someone that a lot of you in the Annie-tuber sphere might know pretty well, and that is the Anime Man. So for anyone who follows the Anime Man, you'll probably know by this point that he throws out a lot of manga and now even some manhwa, if you watch his videos, that are that fly under the radar in some sense for obvious reasons, and in some sense maybe you just didn't hear of them. And basically he will talk about them, he'll review them, or recommend them rather, and be like, hey, these are ones that I enjoyed, maybe you'll enjoy them all the same. Now, a lot of these, generally speaking, from what I have seen, lean into either two categories. And it's not all of them, but it's most that I've seen. It's either into the ecchi hentai side of things, or it's into like the horror graphic style of things as well. So what we did, being that we like the channel, we watched some of the recent videos and we picked out a manga or manhwa for each of us to read, whether it be hentai or
Nobody picked
whatever.
an actual manhwa, right?
I have read one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then we wanted to discuss them and review them and see what they were about and if they were up to snuff and if the Anime Man's lying to you or not. He's not. They're good shit. But anyway, so here we are. We're going to talk about it. Gavin and I we kind of met in the middle on one. We read the same manga together, so we'll be kind of sharing ideas on that. Isaiah read his own, which he'll describe, and then I did read a manga or a manhwa a little while back as well, so we'll get into that. Now, Isaiah, let me know, what did you, because you were the outlier here. Gavin and I didn't read the one that you did, so I'm curious to know what you read, why you gravitated towards that one, and what you thought about it.
Well, why I gravitate toward it, the Anime Man and I have very much similar taste. He likes 2D girls and I like 2D girls. So, when shit clicks, shit clicks. But so of the ones that he recommended that I picked out, there were 3, and I only actually fully read one, and I haven't finished the other 2, but I definitely plan on it. And the one that I did read is, I guess, still technically ongoing, but there's only X amount of chapters that are available, so that's what I read. The one I read is called Negy Mage Factor. So basically, plot, I kind of want to get into it, but I kind of don't, because
Spoilers?
I do actually think it's a pretty good, a solid story, and if anybody is thinking of picking it up, I kind of want you to actually experience the story, because there is a cool story element that if I tell you, it's kind of it takes that out of the story.
Okay.
But so I'll try to, I guess, be as vague as possible. But basically, there's these 2 longtime childhood neighbor friends that have hung out their whole life and grown up together. And through a series of events, you find out that the guy basically has this this disease. They call it this love disease or sickness. And basically what it means is it sort of works kind of like My Hero Academia, basically, quirks, except so basically what it is this dude has this disease that whenever he's near his friend, through some pull or push of the universe, whatever will happen basically to make it so that some sort of experience that is innately sexual transpires between these two, whether it's he's they're both walking down the road and he goes to wave hi to her or something, and she turns around and all of a sudden her skirt gets caught on a tree branch and rips all the way off, and he'll go to help her but accidentally grab her underwear and pull it off, and it's fucking out the gate ludicrous fucking level 10 shenanigans. We're not trying to sugarcoat or butter this shit up
Or they could be.
Yeah, or they could be. But what you're reading, why you're here. I knew why I was there, and I was all for it. But there is, again, a pretty cool plot twisty thing that happens about 3 chapters in, that kind of you're oh fuck, really? And then the real sort of plot like kicks off. And like there is actually, so there, like I said, there's 3 that he recommended that I actually want to read, but of the 3, this one I feel like is the one that has like the most actual weight behind it in terms of like story and characters and stuff, because there is an actual like plot, and it's like a pretty solid one, at least for like an ecchi manga. So I do think if you're going to check anything out that like at least that I have on the list you recommended, this is definitely one, because it's like it's fucking great.
Can we really classify that as like a disease, though? What that guy's problem is? Like,
Well,
what's
it's-
the real definition of disease? Is it all that bad?
The thing is, you find out that fuck, I don't even want to like, because I can't even say it. It's not like all I'm gonna say is it's not quite what you're picturing. It's not quite what you think.
Okay.
And that's like the whole thing is like it turns in this other thing, and you're like, oh, but like literally, it's like more My Hero than you're thinking. Like it really does.
Really?
Like it's like it's pretty fucking good, man. It's actually pretty fucking good. I would recommend this to people who like don't normally read ecchi stuff. Like that's why I think like, because it's a good time either way. Like yeah, there's fan service in it. You're gonna get your ecchi stuff. Like that's there, but like it's an entertaining like time. I had fun reading.
Okay, what was this one called again?
Negy May Factor.
Negy May Factor?
Negy May Factor.
Okay, good to know. Check it out, people. Gavin, you just like, you're cringing. Your face is contorting over there. I don't know what's happening. What do you think?
Well, I am going to take everything that Isaiah said and flip it on its head, because
Sort of, because I read the same one.
Yeah, from what I know, y'all ain't that much higher up on the totem pole here than I am. Okay.
All right. It's done with taste, Isaiah. No, I'm kidding. So I made it a challenge to specifically pick something that the Anime Man did not recommend, and specifically made a video dedicated to do not read this manga. And I was like,
which in actuality means read this manga.
Yeah.
and he even says in the video, he's like, I tell you not to read it, but half you motherfuckers are going to read it anyway. And I was one of those motherfuckers. But to be fair, he read it in Japanese, obviously, because he lives in Japan. So unfortunately, there's only 13 chapters that like are actually fan dubbed for us to read. Yeah. However, that equates to around 2 volumes of the whole series, which is in totality 6. But like, I know Ian looked through the raws of it, so like we couldn't understand anything, but like visually see like what happens. I got
the picture.
You get the picture more or less. But literally, it's pretty much Saw like on cocaine a little bit, not like enough cocaine to get you crazy, but like just enough to stir the pot, to be honest, because like it's literally just a group of people, again, wake up in the middle of fucking in a school more or less, and then they pretty much say, yeah, you got 7 days, and yeah, you have no food, but you have water. And then the way it's like laid out is there's like 3 floors, absolutely everything is taken out for like them to be able to hurt each other, except on the 3rd room there's literally like a butcher cleaver chained to the floor with like a clay cooking pot, and it's like the whole floor is covered in like tarp, more or less. And then they're like, yeah, there's a big ass timer in a classroom, and they're like, 7 days, have fun. But they don't know anything. Like they don't get that storyline that it's like, once this timer hits 0, you get out. It's literally just they're plopped in this room. They don't know. They only know each other. Like, well, they don't know each other, but they only have each other. And there's just this timer ticking down. So they're like, are we going to die in 7 days? Like, are we going to get out in 7 days? Like, are we going to be playing any, like, is this like a game of sorts? Like, nobody knows. But like, the best thing is there's one character in it who is like, has such a cool temper that Ian mentions. That's one of my favorite characters.
He's the best one in there.
And he literally like just wakes up and he's like, yeah, I pretty much already know the situation, because he said he's a fan of something.
Yeah,
like
he's
an
a total
ocular,
the occult.
Yeah, occult.
Yeah.
So like
Oculus.
Ocular. I couldn't think of the name or the word, but occult. He's an occult like fanatic or whatever he refers to himself as. So like, he's pretty much been like studying this type of shit forever. So he's like, yeah, pretty much like XYZ, this is gonna happen, and tell it to like them flat out. Yeah. And they're like freaking out. This is the first day, half an hour. He's like, yeah, this is what happens, and this is probably gonna happen to you. This is probably gonna happen to you. And they're just like, whoa, like we didn't even say hi. How are you? Like, what's going on? But like his predictions are kind of coming true, and he's also like steering them in his favor to like test how people like react in these scenarios, because it's like a side hobby of his. So
but you don't even know that it's him per se that's behind it all. He's just like weirdly enough totally on board with all of this, and he's like, yeah, like I'm cool with it, man. Like honestly, this is all good. Yeah, it's interesting. So the name of this one, I don't know if you mentioned already, but it's called Doku Mushi, and so that translates to poisonous insects. So basically the premise here is it says dangerous insects such as Arachnids, thank you. Arachnids and centipedes, which cause direct or indirect damage to the human body. Records from ancient times show that several of these insects were placed into an isolated space to let them fight amongst themselves for food. The last one standing, the one with the strongest will to live, would be used in a curse known as worm toxin. Yep. So this goes back to some like ancient ritual crap where they put like scorpions and centipedes and all this kind of stuff. And the last one to win and be like, I made it out alive, is like, that's the one. We're going to use that to curse the living shit out of this guy I don't like. And so that's kind of like the premise. But I think this one's interesting, right? Because it follows the protagonist, I guess if you want to call him, is Reggie, if I'm not mistaken. It's at least how I'm pronouncing his name. And it's funny because they're in this scenario in which this occult guy is like, yeah, this is probably what's happening, but you don't really know that for sure, right? And it like kind of cracked me up with this one because it was like, dude, I was telling Isaiah, not even 20 hours went by before somebody got raped. And it was like, what the fuck, dude? Like, you couldn't even give it a day before you're just like losing all self-control. Like, and I'm assuming, you know, that's kind of the point, because a lot of these people that we find are very different people in their own term. And we go through each of their backstories every couple of chapters or so. And so there's motivations or, you know, reasons as to why they're crazy or why they think a certain way or whatever. So like, that's fair. A lot of very polarizing stuff, but it was like, wow. Like, I have never met a group of people that just let shit hit the fan in like the shortest amount of time possible.
But like the best part is they were even saying the same thing. Like, this happened and they're like, bro, this is day one. Like, we're at 23 hours. Like, what is happening? But it's like, it's weird because you can like, the author wants to make it clear like where the switch is flipped, and like he's very good at like showing like this is when this person's now going batshit crazy. Like, even though the time is so early on, like he does do a good job in my opinion on like foretelling like that just switch flip. Yeah. But I don't know. I
also had to laugh though because Gavin, right, when we had decided to do this video, Gavin was like, I'm probably not about like, you know, any of like the more ecchi hentai, you know what I mean? Like leaning towards that. He's like, I'm gonna pick a horror one. So Gavin read it. He wasn't here, and I was reading it separately. And I'm scrolling through, and like, you know, warning, explicit. We get to a point where this chick is just like sucking this dude off, and they're just going like fucking smashing each other in the stall. And I'm like, I look at Isaiah, and I'm like, did Gavin know that this is like essentially hentai? Because from there, it was like so much sex. Like from like chapter 3 on, there was literally a sexual scene in almost every single chapter into fruition.
Okay, like, now let me have my defense. It's not the fact. It's not just like sex doesn't bother me. Like, I'm fine with reading it.
That's a lie, but no, just kidding.
Get out of here. No. The problem that I tend to have with hentai and other genres of that nature is that it's not organic with the story. They just do it to do it, and it's very fan servicey. And I'm like, I like it in moments where I feel like it is not really needed, but supposed to be in. And in a scenario like this, although it happened early on, like for me, it's not a hard sell to be like, you're in this situation, this is going to happen, and this did happen. For me, it's like, okay, it makes it more normal for that scenario, and like, it's okay for me to read. Like, it's not the matter of it happening that bothers me. It's like, I would just rather get a storyline rather than just walking down the street and then just like, oh, their clothes fell off. Like, and I'm just like, for what reason? Like, you just did it to do it, you know?
Because niggas need to see art, Gavin.
No, it's like, I want beauty. I would rather integrate it in the story where it makes sense and it isn't just
that's
like,
fair. And I mean, a lot of
I'm just busting balls too.
Yeah,
right?
but no, it's like a valid thing.
I was saying this to Ian. It's like a lot of like horror does actually like blend elements of like, you know, allure and arousing stuff into it, because like part of, at least to me, like the creepiest thing about horror is like how quickly it can go from like pleasure to torture. But also like, again, like the whole premise, you know, seeming from this manga is like, let's put a bunch of people in a room and see how quick they just devolve into straight animals, right? And it's like, that's a pretty base instinct.
And a lot of it is shock value. Like this one also has pedophilia in it, you know? And it's like, it's for that shock value of like, this isn't like supposed to be the norm. Like, oh my God, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
although to be fair, there were some points where like the one, spoiler alert, where the one attractive chick is like, I need protein. And sucks that dude off. And I'm like, bitch, how much protein are we talking here? But like, you know what I mean? Are we talking like
a came out the gate here? You're like, And there's just like so much sex, like a lot of sex, man. It's like everywhere.
It really is. It's just but it was funny because it was like sometimes it was like okay in the situation like that one guy who's batshit crazy, or like there's people that are like it devolves into the darkest side of you. So it's like, or they're using the like sex to their advantage in the sense where it's like if they're the very attractive woman, it's like she's gonna get people to her side now by being like I'm attractive and I'll have sex with you. And for most men and some females, it's like that's about all I need. Who you need me to kill, so I get, but that part just in particular cracked me up because then she like walks away and she like wipes her mouth after just blowing the dude like 3 times, and then it's like sustenance achieved, like like protein for the week, and it's like
level up.
I mean, she could have pulled a fatso and just started fucking cannibalizing people. Like, I mean, hey, but,
no, that's fair, to each their own. But no, it was an interesting one, and I definitely would not recommend it unless you were one of those sickos out there that purposely would indulge in that sort of thing for
you can
the
take
shock
the hard
value.
shit.
And
I mean, I think call me a sicko, Ian. And yourself. I'm kidding. I know. I'm just kidding. I just like how you're like, if you're one of those sickos.
Ian's like, I read it in the back. I mean, out in public as well, Gavin. I'm right there with you, bro.
He was like, I was in a children's park walking my dog.
All right. Take it easy, all right? Jeez, bro, we're gonna get.
It's like I had it on the same flat screen TV you did, Gavin. Don't even try to judge me.
Oh my God, bro!
Oh, man.
Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, yeah, this episode's getting demonetized. You're fucking crazy if you think it's not.
Yeah. Anyway, so I read another one, and this actually is one that I read beforehand because I was checking out the channel. And we were really on the Tower of God hype, which we still are. And he was like, okay, a lot of manhwa has been taking center stage. So, of course, getting in touch with my perverted side, I had to know, are there any manhwa hentai out there? And basically the point of it was, at least in that video, A, there is, and B, they don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like, they're just going in doing their thing. So he was naming off a couple. And I've never read, read a hentai before that, where it was like, okay, let me go and like read this hentai. Like, of course, like, whatever, like someone will be like, look at, things pop up, like go on any anime website. There's probably shit all over the sidebars and stuff like that and all that. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try it. So he recommended a couple, and there was one, wait for it, drum roll, please. It's called Sexercise. Can we get a camera shot of Gavin's face? Right
That's actually kind of good. That's not even that bad.
I know, but I'm just like,
I just want to see fucking Gavin's reaction to that one.
I literally know of a manga dude that's called "What Happens When a Porn Actress Lives with a Porn Star." That's the title.
That's more interesting, though. What? For me, that's more interesting than Sexercise?
The plot might be interesting, but as a title.
Whoa.
I feel like Sexercise just works better as a title.
Dude,
it's like,
just like
what do you
rolls
mean
off the
Sexercise? Are you incorporating sex into... I gotta know. I gotta read this thing to find out.
I think the one that
if I tell you that title, though, it's like, I already know where we're going with this. You took out the wind in my sail before we...
So obviously I had to gravitate towards that one to just peep the aesthetics, you know what I mean? Appreciate it. Because the great thing about something like that, I mean, in all of them, they're going to, obviously the people, generally speaking, will be attractive. But in this one, it was like they're really putting an emphasis on that shit. So it was like perfect, right on my alley. Not disappointed, I have to say. Of course not. And the story was actually kind of fucking hilarious at the same time. So it's this dude, okay? Ready? I have to laugh saying this. It's this dude who's grown out of shape, and he used to be like a regional judo champion or something like that. Like, he was really good at judo. He was ripped. He was in shape. He falls out of shape. He like stupid shit. He like hurt himself, and they're like, you can't do judo anymore. And then he's eating chips on the couch, and he turns into this fat person. And so he's like, I need to join a gym or whatever. So he like, walking down the street, and he like goes in this place, and it's this like really cute girl at the front that's like, hi, how you doing today? And basically he's like, hey, I was just looking for a gym membership, like personal training. And she's like, oh, like, do you know what our gym is though? And he's like, no. And she's like, well, do you want to? If you do, like, you have to sign a waiver. And he's like, okay. Cause she was like really cute. So obviously he's like, I want her as my trainer. Yeah. And essentially what they do to work out is the best kind of working out, which is sex. That's it. So basically your personal trainer, you go in there with people that are just trying to better their lives, and you go and you just fuck like jackrabbits the entire time, and that's your workout essentially. And you either do that multiple times, or they have you go through different positions or whatever it takes to, you know, stretch the ligaments, do all that kind of stuff.
Get in touch with your inner self,
get in touch
your
with
outer
your
self, someone else's outer self, someone else's inner self. Look,
and
bro.
that's how they conduct their training, you know?
Wow.
So
Awesome.
no, so obviously signs up. And to be fair, though, actually the story was kind of hilarious, and they did incorporate these like weird, these different elements where it was like you were actually rooting for this like one love thing where it's like the trainer, the lady that's there winds up falling in love, like actually falling in love with the guy who's like the guy who's trying to better himself again. And it's like, but like she's now competing with like that side and like being like, okay, well, this is my job. And like, I'm kind of in love with this guy. And then it goes back into like him seeing people again from his past, you know what I mean? From that, and then just like this whole side thing where they're trying not to get caught for doing it because like they obviously keep it under wraps. So like if people are coming in, they're trying to like keep this on the DL and like do all this kind of stuff. And it was like kind of interesting. I only read a little bit of it. Like there's a lot of it. And I was like, all right, whatever.
Look, let me level with y'all. Ecchi specifically, because hentai is like in the corner, right? You're not, you know why you're there if you're going there. That's that. But like ecchi manga, there are some great ecchi manga with great stories. I just feel like they get so overlooked because the second some nigga hears ecchi, they're like, oh, whoa, you mean like boobs are gonna be in it? Like I can't and like sex is such a taboo subject that the second somebody says that's in the story, it's like, well, that can't be a good story. And it's like, why not, dude? Sex is great. I like sex. I'm sure you guys like sex. I'm sure there's other people out there who like sex. Why are we pretending like we don't like sex? It's a great thing. It doesn't denote a story because it's a part of the story. Now, yes, there are ecchi that don't utilize story and they're like, haha, we just have fan service like all strewn out for whatever reason. But there's ones that do. Even in Ejime Factor, like there is an actual story where the ecchi component like is integrated and is part of the story instead of just the whole story. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's dope shit.
It just tends to be so cringy. That's the thing.
Oh yeah,
like
100%.
that. That's my only kicker. Like I don't care for it. It's just like, bro. Like there are scenes where it's just like she's like, oh my god, like, and I'm just like, dude, like come on. Like I don't know. Like that is literally like how it's introduced. Like I can't even explain it, dude. It's fucking stupid.
You explained it vividly there. Yeah,
that's literally their reaction.
Gavin's like, I've never heard a person make that noise in my entire life. Completely unrealistic. 0 out of 10.
No, but it's like, he touched my hand, and then she's like, huh, and like her face gets red, and I'm like, dude, like, calm down. And she's like, is he gonna kiss me? Oh my god. And they're like the philosophical shit. And I'm like, bro, just like, come on. Like, can we just get this over with? I don't know. Like
Gavin,
that stuff.
Maybe you're just a selfish lover, is all really I'm coming to the conclusion.
No, it's not. No, it's not that. It's
Gavin,
like
when you're in touch with your partner, sounds, sights, it all just becomes one beautiful language of love.
Yep. No, I can't. It's just the initial the nerves that they try to portray initially that are just weird. Where it's like he looked in my direction. Does that like it's like one of those things where I'm like, bro, like nod your head, say hi. Like don't be weird. Like why are you acting so weird? I don't know.
No, that's actually 100% correct.
And those are the things where I'm like, why am I I just find it stupid. I'm like, act like a normal human being.
See,
I think it's because that's boring. Like if you just read an ecchi manga that like was portrayed the way real romance is in real life, like that's boring, bro.
I don't know.
Some nigga meets somebody at the bank and they're like, hey, what are you doing Friday night? It's like, I don't care. But if you go into that same bank and you're like, wow, who turned the fan on? And everybody's clothes start coming off. It's like, what's happening, bro?
No, it's so stupid.
And then one guy robs the bank while that's happening.
Yeah, and then meanwhile, the chick is perfectly fine with everything going on. And then she's like, oh my God, his shoes are red. Oh my God, he might, his t-shirt. And I'm just like, bro, you need to calm down. Like,
I can see, obviously, okay, here's my thing. It's like, I think what Isaiah said before kind of nailed on the head. Like, if you're going into any of these stories, especially hentai, but even I would argue some of the ecchi, it's like, you know why you're going there. So I feel, at least in my opinion, so I feel like when a lot of people go there, it's like, that's part of it, right? They're like, they already know what they're there for. So it's like, they're just rolling with it, right? What cracks me up are the people that say they're going there, but like that's not the reason. They're like, actually, it's incredibly riveting storytelling. That's like the people who watch My Little Pony for the irony of it. You know what I mean?
Whoa.
I swear to God, you will be evicted.
My Little Pony is the I'm just kidding. I've never actually watched it.
You will be evicted off of this fucking podcast if you were serious right there. It's like, no way.
Whoa, Brony 2487 will not take this.
I was like, did we just hit a nerve? What happened here? On that?
I had to play that.
But that's what I'm saying, where it's like the people that are like doing it for the irony of it. And it's like, actually, My Little Pony has riveting storytelling, and I watch it because of that, not because
I
of
actually
the
really hope we get like some defenders in the comments that are
Oh,
like,
of course.
actually, like it is though.
No, yeah,
builds
and it's like,
friendships.
I'll argue it's not. Like, there's some.
Yo, but dead ass, you need to watch Food Wars.
Oh yeah.
Comment
no,
to make Ian
for
watch
sure.
Food Wars.
No, I do. Well, I watched it with you guys a couple episodes. I remember the one night when we were at anime. And
Yeah, but you didn't know what was going on.
Yeah,
you kind of just watched and you're like, what is this? And we were like,
yeah, you got to watch like every food orgasm from the gate.
Yeah, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you know what you're getting into, right? I think that's the thing at the end of the day is, you know, if you're going into this ecchi, into this hentai, into this gore, into like anything that takes the bar and puts it to a 12, you know, or even not so that it's like, okay, this is what this is. You can say that for any genre, right? Yeah. Like you watch a shonen, you know what you're getting into. You watch ecchi, you know what you're getting into, etc. It's the same thing. So it's like, you know, so long as we're all on board with that, it makes sense. And that's really all you can say about it at the end of the day. And like there are some incredibly corny moments and stuff like that, and it is funny, and it's just an acquired taste, I guess, right? And it's like the hentai ones and stuff, you know, they're just like, it just cracks me up. I'm personally not a fan of when it's like, again, not my acquired taste, when it's like so all out where it's like, you know, the climax happens. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like fucking Blastoise use hydro cannon. You know what I mean? Like the equivalent. And then like the chick fucking explodes or like, you know what I mean? It's just like fucking so over the top. Like that to me is like, what the fuck? But, you know, again,
I'm a degenerate.
yeah,
Straight love
acquired
that shit.
taste. You know what I mean? Like,
So
it's
fucking
just
hysterical.
funny at the end of the day to have a conversation about it in general. And I want to say this is the first time, correct me if I'm wrong, that we've like extensively talked about hentai. Or like
It is,
ecchi.
but we haven't really done it yet. We will. Don't worry, we
Isaiah's
will.
been waiting for this day for a long
Yeah,
time.
we've covered what? Fantasy, shonen. We'll get there.
We'll get there.
Don't you worry. It's
One
going to be
step at a
that
time.
you'll know because of the thumbnail. It will get demonetized right out the gate. It will make no money, so everybody watch it. And this episode, quite frankly, because it'll also probably get demonetized. But it's happening. It's happening.
Man, that's
I'm gonna
funny.
educate you, niggas. Don't worry.
It's
I only watch good shit, I say. No.
You do now.
ready for it.
I'm kidding.
Ready. Anyway, folks, those are our thoughts on the manga and manhwa that we read. Big shout out to the anime man. Of course, he's watching this. He watches AoA all the time.
Yeah.
For the recommendations on it.
He's my grandson.
Yeah, absolutely. I think
kiddo?
you can pass for a grandpa. Though.
The youngest one out of the group.
Yeah.
We could have run with like the actual like, you know, not possible thing of like he watches the show. But it's like, no, we're related. All right, whatever. He's also a dinosaur. Yeah. Let's just fucking shoot for 12.
Yeah, so anyway, keep doing what you're doing. Obviously, it's working. We had a lot of fun reviewing the ones that were recommended, and we look forward to maybe doing something like this again. But anyway, folks, if you like the content today, make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, hitting that notification bell, sharing with your friends, and commenting your thoughts down below. What did you think about our discussion? And have you read any of the recommended manga or manhwa that we have shared today, or any that the anime man has recommended as well? Which ones would you recommend to us to read? But anyway, until next time, we'll catch you on the flip. Peace.
Later.
Peace.